We've got a breaking news about the demonization of the Patriot movement by Hollywood. And Alex Jones has some details about that. Alex?
David, thanks. I mean, there are hundreds of examples of this now. Any drama, any cop show, any medicine show that my wife watches, she says, come look at this. And people out there watching, you know this, and you get in this suspended disbelief, and they're programming you. Most people don't watch news or read newspapers. That's got its own more sophisticated programming and propaganda that looks ham-fisted to those of us that are awake, but to news readers is very powerful. But the real programming is happening with these shows like Founding Fathers, where the guy that's pro-gun in Texas and leading the militia, he's really Al-Qaeda, which fits into the whole narrative that, oh, it's white Al-Qaeda or gun owners are really Al-Qaeda. This is the foreign takeover arm demonizing who they believe their opposition is going to be. And there are at least 5 shows I'm aware of that we've covered the last few months that are on NBC, ABC, CBS, you name it, demonizing anybody that talks about liberty, freedom, the Constitution. Hey, I think we have a Second Amendment. Hey, there's too many drones, anti-war, you name it. Anything that isn't outside the cookie-cutter box of Obama's a Peace Prize winner, let him bomb everybody. Hey, I love Obamacare, even though it was written by the insurance companies to rip us off. Anybody who can think is demonized, because we are effective. We are the opposition. Now, Will Jones, one of our great crew members, came to me today and he said, look at my cell phone. We watched this show called The Following on Fox, big Fox TV, biggest, not just news, but biggest entertainment. And I sat there and watched a lot of it he taped on his phone, and that's the clip you're about to see is some excerpts of that, via fair use. We show you the whole thing, but a lot of you out there watching it, tonight probably saw it. It's a very highly rated show. It's called The Following, where a genius psychopath leads an army of other psychopaths in a psycho cult. I thought it was Homeland Security or the government or the globalists or the Nazis or the Soviets or the Maoists, the statists. I thought it was that psycho cult, but no, no, no.
I'm thinking an M17 or my micro Uzi with a silencer.
You ex-military? I don't know. We're better than that.
They were both raised by militia.
Well, constitutional extremists, to be accurate.
Constitutional extremists. I don't know how those two go together.
Yeah, constitutionalists are extremists, are terrorists. When the police and military all swear an oath to it, and we live in a country that's under that.
It was Jesse Ventura who said that first they assassinate your character, then they assassinate you. This is assassinating the character of people who are constitutionalists, who are patriots, who are militia. All these different labels they're throwing out there, and they're connecting that with a mass murder. You know, it's pure propaganda.
And it's not just the show, it's every new drama out there has this message, because we're the opposition. We're saying due process, no torture, no secret arrest, no warrantless wiretapping, no imperial wars, liberty. We're unifying the left and right around freedom. And so every message is we're the worst. And then in the real world, as we broke 4 years ago, but now officially it's public rollout, the new terrorists aren't Al-Qaeda. They're good guys in Libya and Syria working with NATO. It's gun-owning, conservative libertarians returning veterans, and you saw the Southern Poverty Law Center report last week, white Christians, just being a Christian now, or being white. You notice they're all white on there, which again is to create, now they've already demonized all the brown people with Al-Qaeda, and the police think it's okay to go after anybody who's a minority. Now the whites are, no one's trusted but Homeland Security. I mean, this is cartoonish for those of us that are awake.
And it's very effective propaganda, though.
Interrupt our regular programming for this special report. Reports of possible illegal activity by a local militia group appears to have spurred law enforcement into action. John Gleason has our story.
This is the scene of an intensive investigation into the operations of an extremist group reportedly planning a series of terrorist attacks on U.S. cities. Details are sketchy, but allegedly the militia was using this house to store a cache of military weapons. A hazmat unit is now inside the house searching for evidence, while behind me are other local fire and hazmat teams. The FBI is here, as well as other agencies. Earlier today, police raided the house and arrested 2 men on charges of illegal possession of firearms, but they apparently found more than they were bargaining for.
people are going to see this over and over and over again, this meme of connecting terrorists to constitutionalists, to terrorists to militia, that sort of thing.
It's Pavlovian.
It is. It is. So your response when you hear those words, immediately this is going to flash in your mind, just like, you know, seeing the stadium implode in the Dark Knight. You know, people are going to look at that, and when they're going through security at an NFL game, they're going to think they're going to see that image.
It's simulated terror attacks, so that you, even though it's non-existent outside of staged events, you have the shared cultural memory of Olympus has fallen. The North Koreans are going to blow up the White House right as they put out films saying they are. In conjunction, you go, well, how does our government control North Korea? The globalists control China, they control North Korea.
It's visceral. It's in your gut. It's in your subconscious, and it comes out. And
it's like the red cape to the bull,
exactly.
But it's the sword behind the cape we've got to look out for. I saw this before 9/11. They demonized Muslims and Al-Qaeda and said, here's your enemy, we're going to take your rights when they attack. I'm seeing the same pre-programming now. The new enemy is going to be people that don't want their bank accounts drained like Cyprus. The new enemy is going to be people that are aware of the globalist takeover and say, hey, we have rights. And the urban warfare drills I went to over a decade ago, now there's new films out publicly. It's like, I have rights, you can't take my guns. I have rights, don't take my home. And the Marines practice mowing them down. It's very simple.